This is a story that has been passed down through generations by word of mouth. It tells the tale of an evil spirit that haunts a particular house. The ghost is so nasty that those who come into contact with it are driven to commit terrible acts, including murder. Now, this is just a story, right? A scary story meant to keep kids from wandering around at night. But what if there's more to this tale than meets the eye? What if there's a truth hidden within it? Truth about our world, about the things that go bump in the night. Let me explain. Imagine walking home alone at night. The streetlights cast long shadows, making ordinary things seem menacing. Every creak of the floorboard sends a jolt of fear through you. Then you see it, an old house, dark and silent. Suddenly you remember the story your grandmother used to tell you about the evil spirit that lurks within. You quicken your pace, wanting to put as much distance between yourself and the house as possible. But then, something makes you stop. So maybe it's the sound of breaking glass, or a door slamming in the wind. You hesitate, fear gnawing at you, unsure if you should continue on or turn back. What would you do in that moment? Your decision could mean the difference between safety and encountering something truly terrifying. In this video, we will explore a haunting narrative that has the potential to change the way you view the world. Get ready to uncover a chilling tale that blurs the line between fiction and reality. So grab a blanket and curl up on the couch, because this is one story you won't want to miss. We may not be able to see them, but there are forces all around us trying to influence our thoughts and actions. Sometimes these forces can be good, bringing us happiness and success. Other times they can be bad, leading us down a path of pain and destruction. Think about it. Every day we make choices that affect our lives and the lives of others. We have the power to choose between right and wrong, between helping someone in need or ignoring their pleas for assistance. These choices shape who we are and determine the kind of impact we have on the world. But what happens when we choose wrong? When we give in to our darkest impulses and commit terrible acts like murder? In a world where we often feel like we're alone, it's easy to forget that we're not. There are unseen forces, both positive and negative, constantly at play, waiting for us to make a choice. Have you ever heard of the term evil? It's a word we often use to describe things that are morally reprehensible. But what does it really mean? Is evil something that's born within us, or is it something that's instilled in us by outside forces? Consider the case of a person who grows up in a violent household. They hear shouting, see aggression, and feel the sting of physical pain on a regular basis. As they grow older, they start to believe that violence is the only way to resolve conflict. Now, is this person inherently evil, or were they taught to believe that violence is okay? This is the first part of the puzzle. There are forces all around us, some good and some bad, and we must learn to identify and resist the bad ones, if we want to live happy and fulfilling lives. So let us take a closer look at this story about the house with the evil spirit, and see what it can teach us about the dangers of giving into darkness. The story goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a house that had a reputation for being haunted. People said that if you spent too much time there, the evil spirit would get into your head and make you do bad things, even murder. One day, a young man decided to spend the night in the house to prove that ghosts weren't real. He thought the idea of a ghost making someone kill someone else was ridiculous. But as the night wore on, he started to feel a presence in the room with him. He could hear footsteps in the attic and whispers in his ear. Just when he was about to give up and leave, he saw a ghost. Now, stories about ghosts and spirits have been a part of human culture for centuries. They serve as a way for us to cope with the mystery of death and the unknown. But are these stories just make-believe, or is there something more to them? Some people believe that ghosts are the spirits of people who have died, but are still lingering on Earth. Others believe that ghosts are simply our own minds playing tricks on us. Regardless of what you believe, there's no denying that ghost stories can be a powerful way to explore the darker side of human nature. As the young man in the story sat in the haunted house, he probably thought he was being brave. But let's be honest, that takes a certain amount of courage. Facing our fears and confronting the unknown is something that most of us would never do. But the young man wasn't just doing it for the thrill of it. He had a purpose, to prove that ghosts weren't real. He didn't believe in them, and he wanted to show everyone else that they were just a bunch of nonsense. But as the night went on and the strange things started to happen, his bravado started to fade away. He heard footsteps in the attic, and that's something that doesn't have a logical explanation. It's not something you can easily dismiss as just your imagination. If you've ever experienced something like this, you know how scary it can be. The feeling of dread, the racing heartbeat, the goosebumps on your arms. It's a primal fear that kicks in when you sense that you're not alone. And as the young man sat in that room, he must have felt like the walls were closing in on him, like the darkness was suffocating him. He probably started to wonder if he'd made a mistake, if he'd angered some ancient spirit that now wanted him dead. That's the thing about fear. It can bring out the worst in us. Being brave isn't about never being scared. It's about doing what needs to be done despite the fear. And that's exactly what the young man did. Despite the ghostly footsteps, he stayed in that room. He chose to stick it out and prove that ghosts weren't real. And in doing so, he taught us a valuable lesson about the importance of facing our fears and challenging our beliefs. Now, I don't know about you, but I find that incredibly inspiring. Imagine if we could all summon that kind of courage in the face of adversity. If we could all push past our fears and challenge our beliefs instead of letting them hold us back, the world would be a better place because of it. So thank you, young man, for showing us that it's possible. Thank you for teaching us that we don't have to let our fears define us or control our actions. But the story doesn't end there. Because as the young man sat in that room, he wasn't just facing his fears. He was also facing something else, something far more sinister. The ghost was getting into his head, whispering to him, tempting him with thoughts of violence and murder. Now, this is where the story takes a dark turn. The ghost was using the young man's fears against him, preying on his doubts and insecurities to make him do things he wouldn't normally do. That's the thing about evil. It doesn't just exist out there in the world. It can exist within us too. We all have the capacity for good and evil, for kindness and cruelty, for love and hate. It's up to us to decide which path we want to walk down. And sometimes, when we're faced with fear, doubt, or temptation, it can be hard to stay on the right path. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. Because when evil gets into our heads, it can be hard to get it out. It can warp our thinking, corrupt our morals, and make us do things we'll regret. That's why it's so important to be aware of the signs of evil, to be able to recognize when it is trying to take hold of us and stop it before it is too late. In the story, the young man eventually gives in to the temptation of the ghost and commits murder. It's a tragic ending, but it serves as a warning to us all. A reminder that evil can take root in the most unexpected places, and that we must remain vigilant against its influence. So the next time you hear a strange noise in the middle of the night or feel a sudden chill down your spine, remember the story of the young man in the haunted house, and ask yourself, is evil trying to get into my head? Are you strong enough to resist its whispers and stay true to your values? Because let me tell you, evil is always lurking around the corner, waiting for us to let our guard down. It's our job to stay ahead of it, to keep our minds sharp and our spirits strong. And hey, if you're still with me, let me know in the comments, what do you think? Is there such a thing as an evil spirit? If so, how can we protect ourselves from its influence? Let's have a conversation about it. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Subscribe, like, and share to Psyche Insight for weekly videos on deep psychology, self-growth, and mind-bending philosophy.